Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're in my workshop and today we are going to be making what in my opinion is the simplest and easiest box to make ever. This one right here is my prototype. I made it from a chunk of mahogany. It was really just to get the basic idea of exactly how I'm going to do this project and see if it would work, and it did. So then I moved on to making one from spalted maple, and this one turned out extremely nicely. This one I've actually already sold to one of my friends. Just to accentuate how simple this project is, I'm going to show you how many tools you need. Now the tools you need for this project are very simple. We're going to be using a saw, a couple drill bits, and of course a drill. And then if you want, you can also use hand planes and a finishing sander. The only hardware you need for this are these little neodymium magnets. You can also use normal magnets. They don't have to be the rare earth ones. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can find the ones that I'm using, as well as a little barbecue skewer. So let's get right into the build. We're going to be using another chunk of mahogany for this next box. The first step is to mark out where we want to make our cuts. I wanted to make a smaller box this time, so I made it a cube. This size would be great for rings and small pieces of jewelry. I'm now using a saw that we rehandled in a previous video. It needs to be sharpened a little, but it gets the job done. It is one of the only saws that I'm able to saw on the mark with. I have it filed for crosscut, but it still works pretty well with rip cutting. I'd like to clean up the saw cuts at this point. It makes marking the final cut a little bit easier. You don't have to go very high up in the grits. I used 60 grit, then moved up to 100 grit. Now, use a center punch to make punch marks for two holes. I like these holes to be across from one another diagonally. One of the holes will be for the hinge, and the other will be for the magnet. Drill out the holes with a drill bit that is as close to the diameter of the bamboo skewer as possible. We can now cut the lid off of the body from the box. I made the lid 7/8 of an inch thick. Be very careful with this cut. If it isn't square, the lid will look awkward on the body of the box. After cutting out the lid on the first try, you are ready to drill out the hole for the magnets. Again, use a drill bit that is the same diameter as your magnet. Drill the hole deep enough so that one magnet is completely below the surface. As you can see, the hole I drilled enough was more than deep enough. We can do the same thing on the lid. Oops, never getting that out of there. I'm using a Forstner bit to drill out the storage part of the box. Pick one that will take up as much of the given space as possible without ruining the structural integrity of the box. Let's mark out the hinge pin now. We can mark all the way around the pin with a knife, then break it at that score line. You then simply glue it into place. Don't forget to plug the hole that we made for the magnet too. When it comes to sanding, you don't need to go over 220 for this type of project. I used 100 grit, 150 grit, and then all the way up to 220 grit, doing the bulk of the sanding with my finish sander. The lid is very fun to play with. It snaps closed with a very satisfying click. Blowing the dust off the box helps make the finish much smoother. There won't be any small granules of sawdust stuck in the pores of the wood. Speaking of finish, I just used a simple mineral oil finish. I think it transforms the wood magnificently. And here we are with the finished product. Like I said earlier, this project is great for small jewelry like rings, earrings, and jewels. The lid is absolutely addicting to play with, and the box is simply gorgeous. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like. If you really love what I'm doing here, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.